Rough news for students in the Peach State who are searching for financial aid to pay for college. A new report shows Georgia relies almost entirely on merit-based scholarships, leaving low-income, rural, and first-generation students with widening gaps in college access. The state Senate Study Committee on Higher Education Affordability says just 1% of aid is need-based. This is far below the 74% national figure. The report shows the most impacted groups: Black, rural, low-income, and first-generation students. And Georgia is one of 2 states without a comprehensive need-based aid program. So let's find out what's going on now with Ashley Young, Senior Education Policy Analyst for the Georgia Budget and Policy Institute. Good to see you again, Ashley.
Hi, Joe. Good morning.
So when you look at this report, Ashley, what stands out to you as the clearest signal that Georgia's financial aid system simply is not meeting students where they are?
Yeah, so Georgia is, again, as you mentioned, one of 2 states that does not have need-based aid. One of the major findings that we were able to see during this Senate Study Committee is that Georgia remains consistently one of the states that has the lowest tuition and fees rate. However, we are 3rd in the nation behind Washington, D.C. and Maryland for student loan debt per borrower. So when we think about that gap and we try to understand and figure out how this could be, we are understanding that there is a major disinvestment in need-based financial aid, which helps many students access college.
Ashley, walk us through the scale of this affordability gap. What does it actually look like for a Georgia family just trying to send their kids to college right now?
Absolutely. We have seen exponential increases in college costs over the last few years. There are generally 2 ways in which our state can provide funding for students. That's through, of course, the state funding formula, and that's generally for our public colleges like Technical College System of Georgia and the University System of Georgia. And then we have direct aid to the students, say like a Hope Scholarship or hopefully in the future a need-based aid scholarship. And so what we're finding is students are having to work multiple jobs, and even students who are receiving the Pell Grant and even receiving Hope Scholarship are still on average, not having that gap filled, and they have what we call unmet need, and are still having to work multiple jobs, long hours, which actually delays, their graduation completion time. So this would be a major transformative investment in helping all Georgia students not only enroll but persist and graduate from college.
Yeah, it's a wonder, Ashley, those targeted communities, impacted communities, can keep up academically as they're having to juggle so much in their personal and financial lives as well. Are there certain communities or regions here in Georgia falling further behind others?
For sure. Many students from rural areas, many students who are not able to access advanced placement courses, who are struggling to get SAT, ACT preparation, to be competitive for standardized tests, and of course, racially marginalized students, right? So Black students hold the most debt in the University System of Georgia. As a matter of fact, they actually account for about 44% of the students who are taking out loans, but only about 25% of the students in the University System of Georgia. So to see that Black students are accounting for almost half of the students who are taking out debt, but only accounting for about a quarter of the students, shows these disproportionate impact on African American students. We also see this with Hispanic and Latinx students as well. So students of color, students who are financially marginalized, and certainly our rural students would benefit greatly from a need-based aid program in Georgia.
Ashley, let's take this concept off of paper and put it into practice here. What would a comprehensive, renewable, need-based grant look like here in Georgia?
That is such a great question, Joe. I've been working on this for many years, so I'm excited to share. This would look like renewable funding. So we would be investing in students in their first year as a first-year college student. So as they're enrolling, this helps to increase students' confidence in their self-efficacy that they can actually enroll and make this a dream come true. We are looking at, again, initial, renewable. We are making sure that students who have the most need, so this would be based on a student student aid index, which is essentially a formula to determine Pell Grant eligibility. So we would be targeting our most financial needy students. Eligible students would be able to, again, straight out of high school, be able to access this need-based financial aid. And it would also, again, be open to any student who qualifies based on their student aid index. Again, renewable at the first time of enrollment.
You've done the research, you've got the data, done the report. Ashley, next month, the legislature is back in session. How do you believe state lawmakers will take this data into consideration? Do you believe real change will come about?
I do believe this is a step in the right direction. Joe, I'm sure you're aware of this, but it takes time for this magnitude of a shift in the financial aid system. But I think we have done a major job in terms of working with pivotal players such as Senator Max Burns, who is chair of the Senate Higher Education Committee, who was also on the Senate Study Committee. Also, Madam Chair, Senator Nan Orrock, who's a leader in the Democratic Party here in Georgia. And so we've got some pretty pivotal players that see the vision and that unanimously adopted this report. And so our next step is to really ensure that we are having critical, important conversations with the governor's office to ensure that we have the executive leadership from our governor, and governor and their staff, and just continuing to lobby and advocate and share those student stories to ensure that the General Assembly is on board with this very needed policy change.
Ashley Young with the Georgia Budget and Policy Institute, thank you so much.